And we are back. This is the second video on inflammation and why it is so helpful for you, right? We want to support inflammation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my first video, because inflammation is the body's innate ability to heal itself. Our body is intelligent and we need to support it, right? We love our bodies. How do we support inflammation and not eliminate it? Number one, I've got a couple things to talk about you, but number one, stop taking Advil. Stop taking ibuprofen. Stop taking the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, because when we stop our inflammation, we stop repairing damaged tissues, and we have, well, shitty tissues. And then we end up getting hurt, and we end up getting injuries, and then we end up needing surgery, and that's what we don't want. On another note, I've got three ways that we can support our inflammation. And probably two that are going to be the most tangible for you or effective for you, especially if you're an athlete. And I say that because number one is to stop the insult. Stop the physical stressor that is causing this inflammation, right? You work out, you get sore. Well, if you don't want to get sore, if you don't want to be inflamed, then don't work out. If you're an athlete, again, right, you can already see where I'm going. If you're an athlete and you get injured and you go to a doctor and you want to get better, right? Because you want to keep playing, that doctor is likely going to say, stop playing. Yeah, if you're an athlete like me, you'd be walking right out that door. I would be holding the door open for you to walk out, because it's the last thing you want to hear, especially if you are so invested into your sport, not even professionally, but if it defines you. Absolutely. Number two, and you're going to like this one a lot more, is simply change our movement patterns, right? If we are dedicated to one sport, let's say running, for example, we're used to moving a certain way for hours and hours and hours every single week. You bet your bottom dollar, again, if we're moving that same way over time, we have this repetitive motion, this wear and tear, this low-grade inflammation. If our ability to work through that inflammation isn't robust enough, yeah, you're going to get injured. So let's change up our movement patterns. For me, right, in addition to disc golf, which is my sport, I also work out. I lift heavy weights, and I also perform revolution in motion. And those two things are so great for keeping my body healthy and pain-free, because we get to introduce different stimuluses, different movement patterns. And so when I go out and play disc golf is just one of those many movement patterns. It's not just one movement pattern anymore. The third one is modulating the inflammation. Modulating, not stopping, not eliminating, but modulating. Modulating is essentially, and this is the newer buzz term, instead of anti-inflammatory, we want to talk about inflammation modulating. And I learned this term in naturopathic medical school because there's a lot of herbs that modulate the inflammation. Essentially working through that inflammation process faster. We recover faster. There's a lot of herbs, there's a lot of supplements that do this, but the thing is, you have to take those herbs and supplements for very long periods of time, upwards of 3 months, to even notice any effects. And they're going to be really general, right? You're not going to say, oh, this fish oil cured my ankle pain. At the same time, you're probably spending, a couple $100 every couple months on supplements. I mean, we can even go into sourcing and how the quality of those supplements are, herbs and what other sources alike. Basically, what it whittles down to: food surmounts supplements. Food is the pinnacle for performance and especially recovery. If we're not eating the right types of food, if we're not eating the quantity and quality of foods, we're doing ourselves a disservice. We always think about how great turmeric and ginger is. It's, when we first heard about these things, it wasn't in supplement form. It was in someone's diet consistently every single week. That's where you're going to be getting those benefits. Food is, I can't even overstress it enough. I don't really prescribe supplements in my practice. I really harp on food. Food is so important. Again, quantity is actually more important than you might realize, right? A lot of athletes are actually under eating, which is an issue. Another way to modulate inflammation is through manual therapy, right? Going to see a massage, chiropractor, fascial manipulation specialist, whoever, acupuncture. What these providers do on a very general scale, on a very general basis, is that they just stimulate the inflammation response, the healing response in the body, but in very targeted areas, right? If you have pain in one area, that's not likely the site or the cause of the pain. We need to go to the culprit, right? We need to go to the area that is actually causing the problem and tell the body, hey, we need to work on this area. So they get in there, they dig their hands, again, that's where you might feel sore the next day, because that's where we need to be, that's where all the inflammation markers and whatever needs to lie. In my practice too, I've got this great tool called Electrons Plus. It's a form of pulsed electromagnetic field. This thing does wonders for recovery. Again, modulating that inflammation. It actually affects gene regulation of certain inflammatory markers, so you get back to your sport faster. And that's essentially what performance comes down to, is how fast can you recover. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you got some value from this. Essentially, go get consistent body work, change up your movement patterns, and eat food. Eat the right foods, okay? That's about it. I'll talk to you guys next time.